Right now, a Stoughton woman wants to build a fence to keep her children safe, but a city ordinance is blocking her plans.
And 2 teens are accused of stealing a car and speeding through the UW campus area late last night. An eyewitness says she's glad she was inside her home when they crashed.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
Thanks for joining us. The Stoughton family trying to put up a fence in their yard is running into some unexpected barriers.
A petition they've started is now circulating through the community to change an ordinance they say goes too far. Madeline O'Neill is live in Stoughton tonight with the reasons the rule is in place. Maddie?
Charlotte and Eric, this is Marcia Berrigan's backyard. She loves how big it is for her 4 kids, especially on a beautiful day like this. But with a relatively busy road nearby and cornfields surrounding it, she wants to put in a fence for her kids' safety, especially in considering one of her kids is on the autism spectrum. But that process hasn't been easy.
We have twins. They're 14 months old. I have a 3-year-old and I have a 12-year-old. And I just want to be able to be outside with them.
But in her own backyard,
I'm worried that someone's going to run into the field at corn and get lost once it's tall. That actually happened to my husband's uncle. They found him with a helicopter search. And so it's a very real worry that I have.
the simple answer for Marcia Berrigan was to put up a barrier, but that came with obstacles of its own.
I called a fence company and just asked them to, hey, come out, give me a bed. And they're like, oh, you live in Stoughton. It's not that easy.
Because of an easement on her property, things became a bit more complex.
So ATC owns these power lines, and they came out and gave us full permission to put our fence in. And even with their permission, we still can't put a fence in because of this ordinance.
Stoughton's Planning Commission is considering a change to the zoning ordinance that currently doesn't allow fences on easements.
Stoughton Utilities has lines there as well.
Taking into account opinions from Stoughton Utilities on what that would mean.
The rationale behind it is ultimately to keep those utility easements available for the use by the utility.
Stoughton Utilities Director Jill Weiss says the biggest concern with allowing fences would be safety if something were to go wrong, from a power outage to a water main break.
It's important that we're able to get in there quickly and basically provide the needs of all of the community, not just looking at each individual property when it comes to restoration.
I understand that, but I think that I have a more immediate need right now.
Berrigan isn't on the fence when it comes to this.
We love our house, we don't want to move, but we need to make sure our kids are safe, or we have to. With the transmission lines, there's about a 30-foot easement from the edge of the cornfield to right about here. So if the Berrigans were to put up a fence right now, it would have to be this close to the house unless the ordinance changes, which is possible. That will be discussed at a Public Works meeting next Thursday. Stoughton Utilities says while the ordinance is important, this could be a good opportunity to revisit it, and they will have a recommendation at that meeting next Thursday. Any changes will have to be approved by the City Council. Charlotte and Eric.
Maddie, thank you.
All right, to weather now. Temperatures could feel like they're near 100 degrees this weekend. Let's check your first alert forecast. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti. Gary?
Eric, and it could even feel warmer than that for much of next week as we have a heat wave on the way. But right now, things are pretty nice out there. Lots of sunshine today. Winds are out of the north. The air has dried out. You can see very little in the way of precipitation anywhere in the Midwest. Right now, temperatures are in the upper 70s to lower 80s through much of southern Wisconsin. There is a lake breeze keeping temperatures closer to 70 or even in the upper 60s near Lake Michigan. But dew point temperatures right now are generally in the 50s, so it feels very comfortable out there. In fact, temperatures tonight will drop into the upper 50s by early tomorrow morning. Look for skies to be mostly sunny for tomorrow. It'll be a very warm but still not too humid day with a high of 85. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
New at 6, Madison Police Chief Mike Koval says he is cutting a quarter of the officers in community engagement programs and moving them to traditional patrols next year. According to the chief's blog, the department is short 31 patrol officers, and the 12 officers being moved will help with that. The proposed 2020 city budget only adds 1 patrol officer, a detective, and a civilian employee. Three 14-year-old boys are accused of stealing a car and leading police on a chase. Around 2:40 a.m., a Fitchburg officer tried pulling them over on Verona Frontage Road, but they sped off. A Town of Madison officer and state trooper helped lay down spike strips, and the car eventually came to a stop under the Beltline on Park Street. When the three boys ran off, a police canine was able to track them down. A similar situation happened on the UW campus, Madison campus, last night, prompting police to remind you to lock your car doors and not leave the keys inside.
UWPD arrested two teenagers after they led officers on a chase near campus. They're still looking for a third suspect. Rose Schmidt joins us now to explain more on what happened. Rose?
Yeah, so UW-Madison police officers say they're happy to have these teens off the street, especially given how dangerously they were driving near campus yesterday.
We know everybody. Everybody's always out and about walking.
When it's nice outside, you can find Nan Peterson sitting in this spot on her porch. But she says she's glad that Thursday night she was actually inside reading the newspaper.
All of a sudden, there's just this flash that goes by, cutting across the porch, you know, trying to cut some time. And I'm like, wow, that person's really on the move.
2 houses down from hers on Roby Road, a car had crashed into the curb. And she later learned that flash that went past her window was suspects running away.
And out of the side window, I could see them heading that way.
UW-Madison police say an officer first spotted a stolen car headed west on Regent Street after 7 p.m. The people inside were believed to be involved in a home invasion in Madison earlier in the day.
These are the same people that are responsible for these crimes time and time again.
Police say the officer tried to stop the car, but it took off, later crashing on Roby Road just west of Camp Randall. Officers say they set up a perimeter and arrested the 15-year-old driver and 17-year-old passenger near Babcock Drive. 3 officers got scraped up and bruised in the process, and police are hoping to spread a message you've probably heard before.
You got to lock your vehicles, and you got to keep your home secure.
It's all about easy access.
They're looking for a quick, easy way to get into a vehicle. The keys are right there. They take off, they go joyriding for a while, they ditch the car, and it's on to the next.
Something Nan is hoping doesn't have to happen again.
The police have been great about getting that message out there as well, but it was pretty close to home last night.
The driver is tentatively charged with fleeing and eluding, and the passenger is charged with resisting. UW police say they will release the suspects to Madison police as investigators there are considering more charges related to previous crimes.
Rose Schmidt reporting. Rose, thank you. A Democratic presidential town hall is underway at this hour in Milwaukee, organized by the League of United Latin American Citizens. Immigration expected to be a prominent topic. All Democratic candidates were invited. Organizers selected candidates who resonated most with them. Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, along with Julian Castro and Beto O'Rourke, are all participating.
Tonight, the town of Spring Green is reconsidering their previous vote of approval for a beagle breeding facility. The town of Spring Green recommended approving a permit for the facility off of Big Hollow Road in May. The couple who applied for a permit for the facility plans to sell the dogs to an institution that conducts medical research. The decision was tabled last week after many residents spoke out about environmental and ethical concerns. We will have updates from that meeting tonight at 10. Voters in Rock County could see a question about Medicaid expansion on their ballots next spring. This comes after the Republican Legislative Budget Writing Committee got rid of Governor Tony Evers' proposed expansion in the state budget. The Janesville Gazette reports the board member who drafted a resolution for the advisory referendum question wants to raise awareness about the benefits of Medicaid expansion. The question would cite Governor Evers' statistics that expanding Medicaid would mean 82 million additional people would be covered under health insurance, which would save the state almost $280 million.
Bridge construction in the heart of downtown Janesville is expected to be delayed even more, frustrating for business owners who have already been impacted. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter live from the Milwaukee Street Bridge, where work will take even longer now. Adam?
Yeah, well, Eric, work started here along the Milwaukee Street Bridge this past October, and now, due to delays, it won't be done at the earliest until next October. I talked to the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, who said they've got a subcontractor working on this bridge, but due to the high water levels this past fall and this past spring, they couldn't do the work. And then in the past winter, the extreme temperatures and cold kept them from doing the work as well. But for the businesses near here, they say all this construction means less customers for them.
I've had customers who I've seen out and about, and they'll say, yeah, I was there yesterday, but I couldn't find a parking spot, so I went back home. Another customer, too, has said, I'm just not coming back until the construction's over.
And Shumway says this can actually get particularly frustrating because even on nice days like today, she doesn't see anyone out there even working on the bridge. She says that she relies on foot traffic to bring in a lot of new customers to her store, and that she's already very excited for October to come and this work to be done.
Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the first people to land on the moon nearly 50 years ago.
They left Earth at Apollo 11, which landed back safely on July 24th, 1969, with the help of thousands of people. That included Navy SEAL John Wolfram. He is a Fort Atkinson native who spoke today at the Hoard Historical Museum about that experience, helping the astronauts once they splashed down in the Pacific.
Knowing that you're going to be the first person on Earth to see the astronauts, it was exhilarating, and it was a great moment in my life.
And knowing that millions were watching him, Wolfram had to face his fears, including sharks that were infesting those waters. To make the recovery as safe as possible, he is now viewed as a significant member of the Apollo 11 recovery. Wolfram went on to serve 2 tours in Vietnam and received a Purple Heart for his service.
Next at 6, a local postal worker says employees are overworked due to problems with hiring and keeping employees. How it could be affecting your mail delivery.
And there's more local news ahead. Madison High School offer free condoms to students who ask for them. We're talking to a nurse about the new pilot program. That story tonight on News 3 Now at 10.
Have you noticed issues with when your mail is showing up lately? A local mail carrier reached out to News 3 Now to say it's because of a severe staffing shortage.
And Jamie Perez has their story and what the Postal Service is saying tonight.
A postal worker that we spoke to earlier says that there is a severe staffing shortage at the USPS here in Madison. And not only is it having an adverse effect on the employees there, but it's also meaning that it could affect you. You might be getting your mail a little bit later because of it. Most people expect their mail to be delivered by mid-afternoon. But some people say it's being delayed by hours.
It's bad.
Linda Creasel notices the effects that this mail carrier, who's being kept anonymous for fear of retaliation, says is happening more and more at USPS.
Of subs, the current subs that we do have are putting in 60 to 80 hours a week. Regulars are having to work their off days, not getting any vacation time. If we have appointments on our off days, we have to bring in doctor's excuses on our scheduled off day. They're saying they're having to work 13 out of 14 days.
And you can sure tell it because sometimes we don't get our mail till 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon.
The mail carrier I spoke to told me the people who have been delivering mail for a while have been noticing some red flags when it comes to staffing.
People burn out, and it's hard on marriages, it's hard on relationships because we're working all these hours.
In a statement, USPS told us they deal with multiple variables that may affect delivery times, but as for vacancies, they say, quote, the Madison Post Office recently had a successful job fair where applicants are currently being trained and placed into jobs. But this mail carrier says he's not alone in feeling there hasn't been much removed from their bags just yet.
There's a lot of people that feel the same way, but it's because we love our job. We love being out delivering the mail to the people that are our customers.
Creasel says she hopes the problem is addressed soon, too, so she can get her mail at a time she expects.
It's very annoying because, you know, it's like, well, what are we going to do about it? Nothing. And you can't blame our mailman because, like I said, he's the best that, you know, we've ever had.
With the hopeful new hires filling in the gaps, people like Creasel and other mail carriers like this one can get the speedy delivery they all hope for. In Madison, I'm Jamie Perez, News 3 Now.
We found there are still job postings on the USPS Madison website to fill several open positions. If you are interested in applying, we have a link to do so at channel3000.com. Just ahead, enjoy those comfortable temperatures tonight.
A heat wave ramps up this weekend. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti shares just how hot it will feel next in your First Alert forecast. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti joins us now with a hot forecast.
Right. Forecast is the key. Right now, it's nice out there, but things will change. And if anything, it'll be a little hotter than what we were thinking over the last couple of days. Now, one thing that could at least give us a temporary break from the heat would be moisture from what is now Tropical Storm Barry in the Gulf of Mexico. Should that reach us on Wednesday and Thursday, that would give us at least a little better chance for some thunderstorms that could break the heat. But the latest forecasts are not looking too promising. Right now, latest information from the National Hurricane Center, top winds of Barry 40 miles per hour, moving to the west at 5 miles per hour. The storm eventually expected expected to take a path that will strengthen it to near hurricane force, if not right around hurricane force, as it moves inland into Louisiana, and then takes it northward through Louisiana and into Arkansas. But then watch what happens toward the end of the forecast cycle. It now starts to curve toward the Ohio River south of St. Louis, and that means the bulk of the moisture should stay to our south. So we've increased the temperature by a couple of degrees in the middle part of next week and just kept a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm in case some of that moisture reaches southern Wisconsin. But areas that will get the moisture, especially down near Louisiana and in the New Orleans area on the east side of the storm, they could be looking at somewhere between 15 and 20 inches of rain, and that heavy rain of 5 to 10 inches spreads northward, perhaps into parts of southern Tennessee, 4 to 5 inches, maybe as far north as Nashville. But again, the bulk of that precipitation will head toward the Ohio River and not head toward Wisconsin. So right now we've got plenty of sunshine. The air is pretty dry. It will moisten up. We'll get more humid with time, but that will take a couple of days. Hardly a drop of rain to be found anywhere across the Midwest, but we do have alert days in the forecast beginning on Sunday of next week and running through Sunday of the following weekend for an extended period of hot and humid weather. Temperatures low 90s in the day, nighttime low temperatures around 70, and heat index values that could be in the triple digits, maybe 105 to 110 at times. Right now, the Queen Bee Radio Skycam from Platteville and WISC Skycam showing mostly clear skies. The Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison showing plenty of sunshine around the Capitol. As we check out our almanac for today, our high temperature topped out at 82 degrees, the low 66. Right now, we're sitting at a very comfortable 81 degrees, winds out of the north-northwest at 6 miles per hour. Humidity only 38% as that dew point temperature remains in the 50s. Winds right now out of the north, so that's keeping the dry air going. Notice high pressure right here where the air is calm, and then the winds become southerly. Eventually, as that high moves eastward, the winds become southerly and our temperatures start to warm up. So the 70s that we have here go into the 80s in the western portions of the Dakotas, and eventually they hit the 90s by the time you get into the Dakotas. So right now, upper level winds right now from the northwest. There's that high pressure system. Notice where the winds become southerly. Temperatures right now in the 90s, and that's the heat that's heading in our direction for the weekend. Forecast for tonight, mostly clear, very comfortable. The low humidity drops the low temperature to 58 degrees. Tomorrow, that dry air warms up pretty quickly, so look for a high of 85 under mostly sunny skies. Still, the humidity level's not too bad, so warm but not too bad. Northerly winds keeping temperatures in the upper 50s overnight with clear skies. High temperatures tomorrow in the middle 80s, those winds becoming southwesterly. A weak cold front perhaps reaching us tomorrow night with a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm. Maybe the same chance on Saturday, maybe 20% coverage right now, it looks like at best. Highs on Saturday well into the 80s, and then we hit 90 on Sunday and stay at or above 90 through all of next week and into the following weekend with nighttime low temperatures in the low 70s and little in the way of rain chances.
Melvin Gordon's one of the best running backs in the NFL, and he wants to be paid that way. The story's coming up in sports.
Wisconsin weather.
Steve Stricker had a tough choice to make this week. Go to the John Deere Classic in the Quad Cities, where he once won 3 times in a row, or go to the Senior Players Championship, where he could get a 3rd straight PGA Tour Champions Major title. He ended up going to Akron in the seniors.
It was a tough choice, tough decision, because John Deere is a place where I've had a lot of success at, and it feels like home, and I get a lot of support there. So I wish they were different weeks so I could play them both, but I decided to come here. I'm happy I'm here.
Stricker's caddy this week is his brother-in-law, Mario Tiziani. They made a great team so far. Stricker got a hole-in-one on the 7th hole before the TV coverage began. Then he started making some putts. Stricker shot 5 under through 17 holes before bad weather hit, suspending the first round of the Senior Players Championship at Firestone. Stricker right now has a 3-shot lead, with a lot of guys still hoping to complete their first round early tomorrow morning. Jerry Kelly's off to a slow start, 1 bogey, the rest pars in his first 6 holes. In fact, they will resume tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Melvin Gordon wants a new contract from the Los Angeles Chargers, and he sounds like he's willing to sit out to get one. Gordon told the Chargers unless he gets a new deal, he'll demand to be traded and won't report to training camp. Gordon would face a fine of $40,000 a day for every day of camp he'd miss. He's entering the 5th and final year of his rookie contract. He's set to make $5.6 million this season. Gordon's agent calls the Chargers' latest contract offer disrespectful. So we'll see where this goes with Melvin Gordon. We got our first look at UW hotshot hockey freshman forward Cole Caulfield on the ice yesterday as the Badgers practice for their upcoming preseason trip to Canada. Caulfield is a freshman from Stevens Point. He was drafted 15th overall by the Montreal Canadiens last month. Going to the NHL right away is always tempting, but Caulfield says Madison is the place he should be right now, at least for this season.
You know, everybody wants to play the NHL. I think that's the goal for every kid growing up. But, I mean, for me this year, and, you know, you just kind of take it, you know, day by day. And right now I want to be here. I want to be here for this upcoming year. I mean, we've got a great team, great bunch of guys in the room, and great coaching staff. So, I mean, you're not, you know, it's not a bad thing to be here this year. And so, I mean, I think I'm going to get a lot better and a lot stronger here in the workouts and stuff. So, I mean, I couldn't be in a better spot.
Brewers return from the All-Star break tomorrow night when they host the San Francisco Giants at Miller Park. There's only 1 game in the majors tonight. Houston is at Texas just after 7. And last night in York, Pennsylvania, it looked like your standard baseball game, but it was more than that. The Atlantic League All-Star game, for the first time ever, a computer called balls and strikes. Once the computer made the call, the guy in the press box relayed the call to the home plate umpire, who was listening in on an earbud where he'd hear if the pitch was a ball or a strike. Then he made the call after he heard what the call was. Most everyone thought it worked, but we're a long way from something like that being implemented in the major leagues. Robot umpires, what's next? Robot newscasters?
That's well underway, I'm sure, but pretty interesting. Goodness. Somebody's going to be yelling at that computer eventually, right?
Yeah, but you can't blame anybody. It's
So you can't argue with the computer.
Just throw the computer out of the building.
There you go.
Final check, Gary.
Yeah, I can't argue with the forecast. It's just the heat and the humidity they're building. Nice right now, 81 in Madison, but the dew point temperatures in the low 50s. Be comfortable for tonight. Warm, but not too bad for tomorrow. And then after that, look at the heat and humidity for all of next week and into the following weekend.
Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.